Morning everyone, Cargo Bike Life. Got a special project we're working on today. I had to put the Free Spirit FS5 on hold because the tires are on back order. I've got all the parts ready, most of them back on it, but the tires are on hold. What we're going to do today is start working on a shit hits the fan bicycle. And what we're going to use for this is the folding bike, the one that was featured in an earlier video. And we're going to camo it out. Now I'm not going to camo it out with paint because I'm trying to find an alternate method to paint. I'm good at painting. If you go back in my videos on my channel and look at my Honda Ruckus scooter that I painted in a camo pattern that came out like snakeskin, then you'll know I'm good at painting. But I found an easier way for people who may not have the money for paint, or may not have the area to paint, or may not have the necessary skill set to paint, because painting's not hard, but there definitely is a certain way it should be done. So what I've done is I've taken the little folding bike completely apart, and this is part of the top tube. Okay, the little things on the bottom there, that's where the cables run through. You see them? All the cables run through there. There's the headset. There's where the hinge part goes. And what I've done is I've roughed the entire thing up with 120 grit dry sandpaper to get all the clear coat off. Now when you're sanding something for a project and you want to get the clear coat off, you start sanding, and what you'll see is it'll look like white dust, and that's the clear coat coming off. And the reason I remove the clear coat is because I want the tape to be able to stick to the tube as best as it can. And what I chose was, I went to my local Walmart and I got some duct tape brand, and this is Realtree Edge, and that's what we're going to be camoing it out with. I've done this before on my Honda Ruckus scooter. Before I painted it, I used some tape to camouflage it out, and it worked pretty well. It held on. You just got to make sure that you have good adhesion. And since clear coat is kind of slick, I thought a nice smooth surface without any clear coat, but kind of roughed up from the sandpaper. Even the chrome, I hit it with some 80 grit to give it kind of a rough surface. I hate chrome. I absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. But we're going to work on this project, and we're going to make a shit hits the fan bicycle out of that little folding bike. Because you don't got to have an expensive bike to make a shit hits the fan bicycle if that's what you're into. I mean, I paid $95 for that folding bike, and it will work perfect for this project because it's small and it has the ability to collapse, and it'll be camouflaged. It would be very easy in a shit hits the fan situation to hide. It would be small to maneuver through wooded areas. That's why I bought the knobby tires to use in case I had, because my place for shit hits the fan is the woods. I'm good in the woods. You put me in the desert, I'm gonna die. You put me out to sea, I'm gonna die of a heart attack first big shark comes near me. I'm deathly afraid of sharks. Can't stand being in the ocean. My place is the woods. A river, a pond, a lake. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's where I grew up, in the woods. Spent my whole life camping, learning bushcraft. So that's why I chose Realtree for this. And what you got to think about when you're putting tape on there is all the little angles. Like this is the hole that the bolt goes through for it to be able to hinge and fold in half. So what you got to think about is, where do you start? For me, what I'm going to start with is I'm going to take some of this tape, and you're going to need a very sharp blade. You don't want to rip it. You want a nice clean cut. You can use that, or a pair of pin snips works well, but you don't want to rip it. You don't want that frayed edge. You want a nice clean cut. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull me off a piece of this. And this is for a test. And what I want to see, hold on, let me apply this to the tube. So if we put it on long ways, we can see it's not going to clearly wrap halfway around the tube. It's only going a part way. And what you're going to end up with, if you apply it lengthwise, is seams. And you always want your top piece to be over the next seam. That way if rain hits it, it doesn't run under the tape, it runs off the tape. Now, if you take that same piece of tape and you apply it this way, it will cover more than half. But now you're going to have a lot of little sections. And what I want is to apply it long ways. So what I now know I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to put the bottom piece on, and then a middle piece, and then the top piece, so that all of my seams are overlapping. But the first thing I'm going to do, before I even start that, is I'm going to get all these little areas where it's going to be hard. You got corners, because I want as much of this covered in tape as possible. So let me move the camera down here. We're going to start with this, and we're going to put it on there, not on the bottom side, but we're going to put it on that edge. We're going to pull it tight. You want it nice and tight on there. And now this is the hard part to get used to when you're working with tape. You're going to have to learn how to cut it so that it folds over your seams. And the little bit that's left over the edge, that's where a razor knife comes in handy. And cut away from yourself, don't cut towards yourself. So you can trim up those edges. What I noticed right off about this tape is it's very waxy on the outside, so that'll be good for when the rain gets on it. If you're ever in a rain situation, because I'm going to use this bike a lot. Now, had I cut the tape a little wider, I could have even covered that little edge right there. But being that this is kind of a goldish color, I'm not really super worried about a little bit of that gold showing through, because it'll kind of blend in with the tape. And what I should have done was put my... Wait a minute, let me see something. Yeah, I should have put the tape on the bottom first for my overlapping hinge. But you get what I'm saying. You have to learn to cut it, and it's okay if some sticks over like that, because you're going to go over that with another piece of tape. But you just have to sit there and mess with it. And if anybody wants to know, well, is this tape going to last? I don't have a clue. Maybe it'll last, maybe it won't. If it doesn't, then what I'll do is peel it all off there, get all the sticky off it, and I will paint it. But let's try the tape. Let's see if we can get a real tree camouflage bike. That would be awesome out in the woods. So that's the first piece going on. And I'm going to keep working at this. Like you got to get this chrome covered up. And then we're going to get all this done. Maybe I'll just keep working on it here. You gotta have a lot of patience when you're doing stuff like this. It's getting wrinkled. I'm not liking that. Okay. Try that part again in a minute. And sometimes you're going to have to orient the tape in different ways to get the whole thing covered. But remember, in nature, camouflage is random. It's not perfect. Nature does not do things to make them perfect. And rounded parts, getting tape to go around it is one of the hardest parts. But what I usually do is just cut it in sections. And I just take my time, see where it's going to stick, see where it's not going to stick, until I get the whole thing covered. It's a process, but when you're done, sometimes you get something really unique, something different. And it's okay if you got little pieces randomly everywhere that are attached to the main piece you're cutting, because what will happen is it will all eventually get covered by the bigger pieces. like I said, it's never going to be perfect. But who cares? I'm sure at the end of the world, if shit hits the fan situation, the last thing you're going to be worried about is, does my tape look good? You're not going to really be worried about it. You're going to be too busy hunting for food. Now, if some of you decide to do a project like this, I think it'd be really cool if you sent me, or put up a video on YouTube, send me a link so I can watch. So, there's where we've got so far. And like I said, it doesn't have to be super pretty. Just getting camouflaged, right? That's what we're after. And what I'll do when I'm all done with it is set it out in the sun and let the sun bake on it. I think that'll really help it to adhere real well. The glue gets heated up, the sun will suck it right down on there. And I know you could take the tape and you could like wrap it around here if you wanted to. Probably be pretty easy. But just cover all your little areas where it's hard to get into first before you start the main tube. Like you got to cover these. Got to find a way to cover that chrome. Try to make your tape as useful as possible. Try not to waste it. Make sure that it's stuck down good and there's no air. If you see an air bubble or something, just poke it with the tip of your razor knife. Break it, get that air out of there. I mean, these are on the bottom of the bike, so if I didn't get them covered, I wouldn't really trip out because it's going to be down towards the ground. But I like to try to make sure everything is covered. Let's do this. Starting to come along. Now I'm going to end the video right here for now, and when I get this whole thing done, I'll make another shorter video, because it takes a long time to upload a really long video. So this is Cargo Bike Live signing out for right now. Y'all ride safe and have a good day.